Good afternoon and welcome to Health Focus on Unilag 103.1 FM. My name's Adebola Adiduba. According to UNICEF, female genital mutilation refers to all procedures involving partial or total removal of the female external genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. Now, FGM is a violation of girls' and women's human rights worldwide. And while the exact number of girls and women worldwide who have undergone FGM remains unknown, at least 200 million girls and women have been cut in 30 countries with representative data on the prevalence. However, the majority of girls and women in most countries with available data think FGM should end, and there has been an overall decline in the prevalence of the practice over the last 3 decades. But not all countries have made progress, and the pace of decline has been uneven. Now, today my focus is on female genital mutilation, and I have a guest with me in the studio. His name is Bamidele Oyewumi, and he is a program officer at HACEY Health Initiative with over 5 years experience in development practices, including health, economic and women empowerment in over 20 states in Nigeria. Good to have you on the program.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes.
I'm pleased to be here.
All right, let's get right into it. Let me just start by finding out from you. Let me start by asking, what really is a female genital mutilation?
Thank you. So, we've already given the background according to UNICEF, and that's
Right.
just the basic definition.
Let's
of,
have your own perspective.
Female genital mutilation. So,
Right.
female genital mutilation is any cutting in and procedures that involve the partial or total removal of external female genitalia in other injuries to female genital mutilation organs for non-medical reasons. That is very important. For that, non-medical reasons is important because there are some acts that probably when a female had during birth and was stitching back the tears, that is not regarded as female genital mutilation because that's as a medical reason. So any procedures in female genitalia for non-medical reason is regarded as FGM.
And, for non-medical reasons.
For non-medical reasons.
Okay, regarded as FGM.
Is regarded as FGM.
Okay.
And
now let's talk about the degrees of female genital mutilation. Do we have different types? And then if we do, what are the types?
So we have four major types of female genital mutilation.
Okay.
We have the type 1, which is regarded as clitoridectomy. That involves the partial or total removal of the female clitoris.
Okay.
Now this is because I believe that God says He had created every human being in a beautiful shape.
Right.
Now God had actually created the clitoris for a purpose, and some people in their own mindsets, barbaric mindsets, think that the clitoris has one or two disadvantages, and they will take this off. So that is actually the first type of female genital mutilation. The second type is what we call excision.
Right. What's excision?
So excision involves the partial or total removal of the clitoris.
Okay.
Now this is actually bad.
Now this one is the partial.
This is partial or total removal of clitoris and the labia minora.
Okay.
With or without excision of the labia majora. We know what labia minora is and what labia majora is. Now, it's not only the clitoris now that is being cut in this type 2. The labia minora and sometimes the labia majora is also involved. The third type of female genital mutilation is infibulation.
Okay.
Now, this is narrowing the vagina orifice with creation or covering sealing. So they will have cut the labia minora, cut the clitoris, cut the labia majora, then close back the vagina to leave the urinal space alone.
Oh no.
Now this is the type 3. According to World Health Organization, the type 4 consists any procedures, and the type 4 is any other procedures
Right.
done on the female genitalia for non-medical reason is regarded as the type 4 of the female genital mutilation.
You know, I'm forced to ask, why do you think we or those that engage in this practice, why is this practice, or why do they still practice it? What's the motive behind all of this?
At HACEY Health Initiative, that we engaged in this project 2020, we named it the Stop Cut Project. This project actually was done in the 3 states that are the most prevalent um, um, FGM cases
Right.
in southwest Nigeria, which is Oyo State,
Oh my God.
Osun State, and Ekiti State.
Really?
Osun State has the highest prevalence of female genital mutilation.
I would have always thought it would be the
in
northern region.
Yes, but overall in Nigeria,
Okay.
currently now, Osun State is highest with 64% prevalence.
Now, let me talk about the risk factors. What do you think are the risk factor of having someone undergoing this kind of practice? What are the risks associated with it?
There are a lot of risk. But let me. Those are women are at risk of
Okay.
FGM. I see every woman in the prevalent states as being at risk of FGM. Now, I feel that we are doing more, but we're not doing enough to actually educate people, sensitize people. I've heard that people are actually talking about female genital mutilation, which actually has vast effects on every health issues that we are doing, all interventions that we're doing for women in our community. You understand?
Yeah, when I say risks, the risk factors, I'm looking at disadvantages of having a female or a girl undergo all of this cutting and mutilation in terms of health wise, and all other ramifications. What do you think are the disadvantages?
I will beg you to just give me a little time on this because I can go on and talking about
Please,
it.
go ahead.
Now let me start with the short-term risk
Right.
of female genital mutilation in women. One, it's the severe pain. This is actually a short time because when it heals finally, she might not know. When we're doing our project, because the Stopcourt project that I mentioned earlier actually has different levels of intervention. Now, when we're doing key informant interviews for people, young girls, young women, old women, family heads, and all of that, we found out that some people don't even know that they are being caught.
Wow.
Because it has a little effect. And those children, this called our research also says that it is being practiced from the age of 0 to 5.
Okay.
So these are the period where they caught these girls. So they don't know sometimes, and the pain might have gone before they even 10, 15, you understand? So that pain is really not there. Again, that is why the severe pain is actually a short-term effect.
So for some, the pain, the bleeding.
Yeah. Then another one is excessive bleeding.
Okay.
That's hemorrhage. Sometimes can result in clitoral artery and blood vessels. That blood vessels is cut.
Wow.
These are part of it. Shock sometimes.
Okay.
The women, when the muzzle triggers, it can lead to shock sometimes. Infections, because that place is not as normal. Okay. The God that created the labia minora, put the labia majora, the clitoris, it's just to all of these things surrounding it is just to prevent the hole. Like that is the vagina itself. Right. And we have caught all of these things that give rooms for infection because they are nothing that is preventing the vagina.
Okay.
And as we know, female genitalia is so sensitive that it leads to every organ in the body.
Okay.
Now that is how infections enter. We have the long-term risk.
Okay.
I'll beg you not to cry.
Go right ahead.
Sincerely, the pain first. The pain is nothing to talk about. They said you cannot know until you've been there. I've seen women that go through pain. Do you want to talk about the labor pain when they're about to open the space back? Do you want to talk about that? Can you just imagine? Like they've sealed for, let's say, they cut the girl around 3 years old.
Wow, yeah, okay.
And when she reached the puberty age, now talk about the menstrual pain alone. Normal human being that is not caught, we know what they go through when they are menstruation. Now, the discharge is not flowing as it should be, where some is even staying back because there is no free flow of menstrual discharge. Okay. Now that is a big problem in menstruation.
Right.
The pain is, recently I was involved in an online conversation on I think Twitter. I think it was last week, and a lady was giving her experience how she's been caught back because of marriage. If, you know,
when you say she's been caught back, what do you mean by that?
When she want to get married.
Okay.
Now she's been caught. Like, that is the third procedure where they've sewed just a little opening.
Oh, okay.
Now the husband had to penetrate.
So they had to cut her back.
Now, the worst thing about it is that the husband insisted that it is not medically. They won't open the vagina back medically. She will have to force himself to open it because that is their tradition.
Oh wow, what a crude tradition.
Yeah. So some people practice these barbaric thing because they feel that they want to retain their tradition. If a woman is not caught, she is liable to be promiscuous.
I was going to go there because you have been in this field for quite a while. I wanted to find out from you, what do you think are the reasons given as to why all of this practice is still on?
You see, some it's their tradition. They said it is tradition
to inflict pain.
Yeah. So my grandmother was caught. My great grandmother was caught.
Okay.
My grandmother was caught. My mother was caught. I was caught. Definitely, I must cut my child. This is one tradition that we have saying that no, this is not how it should be. Our custom says we should practice good tradition. When you go outside the country, we are very eager to say that our traditional attire actually stand out. Those are the type of tradition we should promote. Our clothing, our culture, not all this barbaric. Right. Do you understand me?
It's completely savage.
It is. So some say it is tradition. Some superstitious believe.
Okay.
Now they say that if a woman clitoris is not cut,
right,
when she is in labor, and the baby child touch the clit, then the baby will die.
Oh my goodness.
My mother was not cut and I'm still alive, for crying out loud.
So it's found that it's very deep rooted in a lot of superstitious beliefs.
I think. So
now, let me go to stakeholders of families. I know this practice, women are, they go through this practice a lot, but I do believe the men have a role to play as well, because they also form the opinion leaders. Now let's talk about all those rural areas you mentioned, our communities. You talked about Osun, you talked about Oyo, cities that have a high case of female genital mutilation. Yeah. What role do you think family members can play in helping to eradicate these savage and barbaric practices of female genital mutilation?
I'll give you one of our own success story.
Okay.
In 2020, before COVID started, we started the Stop Cut project.
Okay.
It was so shocking to me, sincerely, it was so shocking to me that we went on a community rally saying female genital mutilation is bad. This is what the law says about ending female genital mutilation. And we met a man.
Okay.
You know what that man says? That man says, I will not cut my child
Right.
because the government says so.
Okay.
But will the government follow me to my house?
That's a challenge.
What does that mean? That means that he is saying that no matter what we say,
Because how
he will still
do
cut.
it.
And that now informed us on mode of reporting. Now, what we did was we focus also on men. Because they are community, they are family heads, they are decision makers, they are policy makers, decision makers in the family, decision makers in the community. So most of them form cabinet that makes decision at
the society.
In the society.
Right.
Thank you. So what we did is we include them in our intervention.
And how has it been so far?
And I can tell you that these people are also willing to report cases themselves. They come together and design strategies, even some strategies that are mind-blowing to us because we have engaged them. So I believe that it's when we include everybody, our intervention will go far. You understand?
Right.
So including men as major stakeholders, family heads. Most of these rural communities believe that men are always the decider. And when when you don't want your child to be caught, you take the child to the family head, which most time is a man, and the man says, no, this is my verdict. This child must not be caught because I am the family head. Then there is liability that the child will not be caught.
Right.
So that is one of the biggest roles that men, and how we have used men to ensure that we are stopping female genital mutilation.
Okay, what's the difference between, or is there any difference between female genital mutilation, which is what we've talked about, and what they call the female circumcision? Does it have a difference? Is it the same thing? What do you think about it?
It is the same thing.
The same thing, right?
Now, what circumcision, what the definition is. So circumcision is made for men.
Mainly for men. Okay.
And both book, if we want to take it religiously, we want to take religion into it, there is nowhere both the Bible and the Quran says that we should circumcise the female child.
That's right.
There is nowhere. I have not seen all my life. I have not seen. The only place that we can see that is where they said we should cut, and there is how do I put this? There is a medical reason why we should cut, where we should circumcise the male child.
Male gender. Okay.
Do you understand?
Right.
It is medically. We should. It is even glaring.
Right.
It is even glaring because if it's not circumcised, how do you wash the inner part, inner layer? You understand?
Which makes it susceptible to infections and all of these things. Okay.
So it is even medically advised to circumcise the male child. What are you circumcising in before the child? Tell me.
Right. Now, what do you think the government can do, or stakeholders can do, or medical bodies can do as a way of helping to curb or completely eradicate female genital mutilation in our society? What do you think we can do?
So I'll still refer to what we do during our Stop Cut project. We use a multi-sectoral approach.
And what's that?
To ending female genital mutilation. That means that we partner with stakeholders, policymakers, to review policies. Okay. Now, Section 6 of the VAP Act, that is Violence Against Person Prohibition Act,
right,
states the punishment for female genital mutilation. And it says that anybody who engages another person to perform female genital mutilation is liable to a time of imprisonment not exceeding 4 years.
Right.
Or to a fine not exceeding 200,000 or both.
Have you had cases of these being reported and the law takes effect?
This is when we were on field, I had a statement during one stakeholders engagement like that, and we know the reason why people are not actually reporting this. Why? And you know what the man says? The man says, I will say this in Yoruba before translating it. I want to quote the man. The man says, that means we can't come back from court and became friend.
And become friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means that I don't want to report my friend. I don't want to report the circumcisers. I don't want to report my family member that they have caught a new girl.
So how
because that will lead them, because there is law. There is a law that says that if you even you did not even practice this.
Wow.
But if you are the one that law the mother or the father, or you are the one that did this act, you are liable to go to jail for 4 years or pay a fine of 400,000.
How then do we juxtapose? Because then, if that's the traditional mentality, that you do not want to report a perpetrator or a family member and all of that, how then do we curb female genital mutilation?
Now, what we did,
what's the middle ground?
What we did was that we did a documentary, where we were able to show these people how this act is being done, what girls go through when they are doing this thing, what survivors have to say, people that have lived with the circumcision for years, what are those things that what are the challenges they are facing through, and we have to show this to decision makers in the community, where we believe that this act has come to stay, because we've seen actually a lot. And then we decided that we'll have focal persons who will be like gatekeepers in every community. They are the one, when they see any child, you have taken your child for for postnatal, the first week of delivery. Then when you are going at 3 months, we find out that this baby has been caught. Now the mother is in trouble, because they have seen it. They are working with, and then what we did as an organization is we equipped them. That we don't want to have cases that there is no call credit on my phone, there is no data where I can use to report, there is no access. We have equipped in each community. We are working in three states, 4 local governments, and 6 communities per local government. And each of these community has 4 focal persons. You get, each local government has 4 focal persons representing each community. Now we have equipped these people with phones. We give them
but then I just feel a lot more grounds have to be covered. A lot more has to be done. So yes, you've talked about HACEY initiative, but then there's still a wider ground out there to be covered. What would be your recommendation? But before we get to that, let me just announce it's 12 minutes to 1 in the city of Lagos. The station is Unilag 103.1 FM, and the program is Health Focus. My name's Adebola Adedugba, and today I'm talking about female genital mutilation. I have my guest live in the studio to shed more light about this practice. His name is Bamidele Oyewumi, a program officer with HACEY Health Initiative, with over 5 years experience in developing its practices, including health, economic, and women empowerment over 20 states in Nigeria. Yes, let's get back to our discussion. I understand what you're doing regarding eradicating FGM, but then there's a lot of grounds to be covered. What would be your recommendation to the government, to stakeholders, to family heads, to people generally, on how to go about ending this menace, this practice of female genital mutilation?
So, I said we did a multi-sectoral approach. Now we're calling on governments review their policies. If every state domesticated the VAP Act, there is a law and there is enforcement. I feel on government part, they have done a beautiful thing, and it's not just punishment that can. Before this was reviewed, I think it was 50,000 naira or 20,000 naira that anybody can just pay.
So the government's coming up with laws and enforcement.
Laws and enforcement that can actually stand. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now we should also put ourselves, if the family head think of the pain of labor alone, not to say that someone that is being caught, where we have narrowed the vagina, we'll have to go to first the effects of female genital mutilation and childbirth at
The
the time.
health complications in
That could lead to high rates of maternal deaths.
insane, right?
Do you understand? So if we also there are a lot of community sensitization,
Right.
community
Advocacy, here and there.
advocacy,
Okay.
learning materials, tools available for
Right.
even non-government organization, individuals have access to learning, and most of these things is because we found out that ignorance is actually a tool that
Okay.
promotes female genital mutilation.
Okay, so
Because people are not aware of the ripple effect, the long-term effects.
okay.
Do you understand?
So enlightenment you mentioned.
Yes, enlightenment.
Governments creating laws and enforcing it against female genital mutilation,
Exactly.
orientation and advocacy to rural communities, especially including the decision makers and then the family heads,
Exactly.
as a way of ending female genital mutilation. All right, let me just have your last shot. We're about to wrap up the program. As regards to female genital mutilation, what's your word? What's your last word? Your final remarks about female genital mutilation and how to go about ending this practice of female genital mutilation.
I always say this: there is no benefits whatsoever. There is no benefit whatsoever in
Right.
female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation cannot save.
Okay.
It can only harm, no matter
Right.
how, no matter what we do. And then I will just like to include this that HACEY Health Initiative Social Media Week is actually coming up soon, and next week Monday we'll be having a session during Social Media Week where we'll be talking extensively how to use, because we find out that social media is actually a tool, a big tool also to end female genital mutilation.
All right, so no, added benefits, just basically harm to those who undergo female genital mutilation.
Exactly.
All right, that's the voice of my guest on the program, and that's Bamidele Oyewumi, the program officer at HACEY Health Initiative. My name is Adibola Adedugba. My topic has been ending female genital mutilation, and the station, as you know, is Unilag 103.1 FM. All right, until next time, till I come your way again with another interesting topic on the program, stay safe and stay healthy out there. Bye for now. Supposed to announce health fourth exit of the realm.
Ma?
No, no.